Hello y'all, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to make a cover for the journal, and I'm going to show you just one of a million ways how to do this. I've already cut this down just to save time on video. This is chipboard. I think I got it from Amazon. And the outside of my cover is going to be a patchwork quilt, and because of the noise of the sewing machine, I've already put everything where I wanted and sewn it down with a zigzag stitch. And what I did was, this here is muslin, and I keep pretty much every scrap of fabric that ever comes into this house. And so what I did was I just sewed together some strips of muslin to make a big enough size, because we need it to be just a little bit bigger than the cover itself, and that way we can fold it over. Now some of this will end up coming off, both the top and the bottom, but I wanted to make sure that it was going to be big enough to begin with. So this is just one way that you can put this together, and what we need to do is just line this up using the squares on the mat here, and we need to leave just a little bit of space between the cover and the spine so your book will be able to open and close with no issues. And so I just use regular packing tape, and I put it down, and then you flip it over and you attach it to the other side, and then you get just another short piece to give this some strength, some sturdiness. Okay, so we flip this back over and do the other side. So I have cut these two end pieces here to 9 inches tall by 6 inches wide, and the spine itself is 2.5 inches wide. And the reason for that is when you take a normal size 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and fold it in half, it fits in this journal quite well without having to tear or cut any of the sides of the pages. And so every good crafter has a bone folder or something similar. Butter knife would work, the end of your scissors would work, and we're just gonna mash this tape together so it stays secure in place. And there we go, we have our cover. So it really doesn't matter at this point what side you use to put the backing on. And I'm not going to sew this on. I normally would, because I like sewing. I like the look of the sewing on the covers. But for this video, I'm just going to glue it down and show you how I do that. So I use Fabri-Tac or Fabri-Fix, but whatever I can get a hold of. And I'm going to start with the spine, and I'm just going to put a lot of glue down here, and then we're going to smush it all around and make it flat so we don't have any glue bumps. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, nice and squished down. So this side is going to be my front cover, and this is right side up. So what I'm going to do is turn this way, making sure that my front is on the left side where I want it. And I'm just going to put this in the middle and then mash that down. Really technical terms here, mashing, right? So now we're going to flip it back over, and we're going to put glue all on this side here, and then do the same exact thing. Glue everything all around, mush it down so there's no glue bumps, and do this to the other side as well. There's several glues that I've used for various different things, and Fabri-Tac is not the only glue that I use. However, it is the most sturdy when it comes to, you want to make sure that nothing is getting away from that. So mush that down, and then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay. Oh, my coffee is in the way. I keep hitting the cup. Okay. Oh, we need to stay on the chipboard, not on the craft mat. I actually do a lot of sewing also, and I had to get a second craft mat just for sewing because this craft mat has so much glue on it, and the only way I've been able to figure out how to get it off is with a straight edge razor. So there's lots of bumps in here, and there's also some paint as well on here. Okay, so I think we got that nice and glued. Now we're just going to stick that down. Okay, so there we go. Now the best way to get that off your finger is to just roll it around like that, because as long as it's still wet, you'll get a little glue ball that you can get off there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut enough off of this just so we have a little bit to flip over, because we don't want any bulk on there, because it'll interfere with the paper that we put on the inside to cover up the chipboard. So I'm just going to cut about 1 inch off both sides. And this doesn't have to be a neat edge because it's going to be covered with paper anyway. And yes, I will probably keep all of these scraps as well. Okay. All right, let me see if I can lift that up a little bit so y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, and we're going to cut this side. So I told my husband that I will have to be standing in this room and feeling very weird about talking to myself because nobody will be in the room with me. And he said, well, you talk to yourself all the time anyway, so what's the difference? And I suppose he's right. I walk into a room and go, oh, what did I come in here for? I forget. Walk out and then you remember, right? That's where I'm at. Okay. So some people will cut these so you can miter the corners better. I don't do that because I always tend to cut off a little bit too much, and then the corner here of the chipboard will show. So what I do is I put a little glob in the corner, and then I just pull it forward and hold it down for a few seconds just to allow the glue to adhere to the fabric. And I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Oh, she didn't hold it down long enough. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to hold that in place for a second. And I don't have a lot of patience with glue. I like to get things done, and I don't always wait for the glue to dry. Okay, let's see if that's going to hold, and we're going to do the other side while we wait for that to dry. And you'll have these little glue strings everywhere also. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to go all the way around. I always stick a little bit of extra glue under there just to make sure that it doesn't pop up. And then we're going to put glue all on this side. I hope I'm still in frame here. Yeah, okay. And since this will be covered, we don't have to worry about mashing it down. And this is actually kind of thick, so I probably am going to have to sew it we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. And what I normally do is, once this is all put together, I stick it under a heavy book. And that way it keeps it a little bit more flat while the glue is drying. Oh, yeah, see, I'm going to have an issue with that corner right there. Let me just go ahead and put glue right there while I'm at it. Okay, we're going to flip this up. So I'm supposed to be on vacation this week, and haven't had a day off all week, and it's Thursday already. So hopefully, well, no, I've already worked today. That's all right. Things need to get done. Okay, so we got that done, and now we're going to do the sides. So this here, the Fabric Tack and Fabri-Fix glue comes in a bottle that's extremely thick and kind of hard to squeeze. And so one of the other women that I watch on YouTube, Pam from the Paper Outpost, suggests putting your glue into this Sweet Sugar Belle icing piping bottle. And I found that works very well. And normally when I'm working, just to keep the glue down so I don't have to fight with it, I usually keep it down like that while I'm working. The lid here actually doesn't come with anything that you can, close the top with. And so I use a bent paper clip. And my desk is usually really messy, and so I have several bent paper clips lying around just because I'll always lose the one that I take out of it first. Okay. It's looking pretty good there. Okay, and so, see, I lost it. Oh, no, here it is. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Just a regular paper clip bent. And I always make sure that I get the glue off of that. And then you just stick it in there like that. Okay. Actually, though, I don't think I'm done using it because the sides are coming up here. I think I probably will have to sew this. And since I'm new to this YouTube thing, I don't know how to pause and come back. So we're just gonna roll on. Okay, we're gonna hold that down. Oh, this fabric here, I love it. It's a white background meant to look like kind of grungy, like it's got dirty spots on it, and it says life is a beautiful ride. And there's flowers and a bicycle all over the fabric. I'll see if maybe I can't find a bigger piece, if I have any left, and show it to you. Okay, so let's see if that's gonna stay down. And I'm gonna mash down that tape just to make sure that it doesn't make a little bump in the paper when we put it down. Okay. All right, I think we're rocking and rolling here. So the inside covers, what I'm going to do here, this is watercolor paper, and I just cut it so you can see just a little bit of the edge on all sides there. And what I'm going to do for this centerpiece is I have some book pages from an old book that was going to be thrown out, and I like to ink things. And so we're going to tear this and ink this and just put it down all willy-nilly. There's no rhyme or reason. Oh, my other phone is ringing. I apologize for that. So no rhyme or reason to this tearing. We just tear. And when you go with the grain, it tears easier. And when you go against the grain, you get all those really badly ripped edges like that. And so we're just going to tear it in strips. And we're going to need a couple of pieces. Depending on how big these strips here end up being, I don't normally keep them. It depends on how big they are. Because you can use those little cast-off pieces to make clusters and stuff. And you can use every little scrap. Okay, so here we go. This here is walnut stain. And you don't necessarily need expensive tools to do any of this stuff. Shoe polish will work. You can also use makeup that is old and out of date. But I save prescription pill bottles and I just buy these felt tips and I glue it on there. And I'm a little OCD, so I put on these bottles. And I also use thread. When I'm done with the thread, I save these too, and then just glue it on the top and write the color on there. Okay, so we're just gonna get that ink on there, and we're just gonna ink all the way around it. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. And I like to put these in different ways, not necessarily straight up and down, because this is for background purposes. These pages here are not really meant to be read, so we're not going to put them necessarily right side up, just however they fit. And if I have to tear them into shorter pieces to get coverage all the way around, then that's what we'll do. And then we'll just ink that edge if we have to do that. Okay. Oh, probably, yeah. Oh, we got a cuss word on that. We need to turn that one around. All right, let's try that again. I made a journal before, which I thought was pretty funny because that happened. I was not paying attention. I multitask to the point where things happen that I don't really pay attention to. And oh, same thing there. Oh, I should probably take a look at this. Okay, yeah, I had a big fat F-bomb right on both of those sides, and it happened to another journal that I had made. So instead of putting that journal out in the world, because not everybody likes that kind of language, I personally thought it was kind of funny, only because it ended up on the very front cover as part of an embellishment for the front cover, and that's the very first thing that you notice. At least it was for me. Okay, so we're going to put these on here so we're covering up. Yeah, actually we are going to tear this a little bit more. So we're going to cover up this side here, and then we're going to take our trusty bone folder and am I in frame here? And we're going to smash that down. So we put some glue on here. You don't need to use your finger to mash this down. You just squish it out. Right, so I guess this one is going to be upside down, or right side up. Okay, so we're just going to mash that down. And then we're going to take another one. Let's see. Let's try and get these as uneven as possible. Any cuss words on that one? No. Okay. Although I did post, made a comment on one of the women YouTubers that I follow, and she replied regarding that cuss word right in the middle. Maybe there is a genre for that. Am I gluing the right side? Yeah. you know? I don't know, that's my sense of humor anyway. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and mash that right there, and we'll probably need a few more pages. I just pulled out this many to see what all we were gonna have to need. Okay. And generally, I try and make sure that I have all the text block where there's no spaces. The only time I don't necessarily do that is if I'm using book pages to make a pocket out of, only because that extra space you can use for journaling, like this here, blank page. Actually, that's the end page there. I wouldn't necessarily make this entire thing into a book page pocket, only because that's 4 sides of paper right there that you could potentially use for journaling spots. And so, like this here, for instance, I would make sure that this would be on the inside and this is on the outside, like, you know, like that. So you would be able to use that space, flip that up, and use that space for writing. Right, where are we at here? Okay, so we need a little piece right here. Okay. And so I started making journals when COVID hit. So I started a new job when COVID hit in July of 2020. And, you know, it's kind of hard to do a job when the entire world is basically closed. However, what I would do at night is sit there in bed watching YouTube video after YouTube video, and I came across a video about junk journaling, and I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting, you know? And so I pretty much binged watched YouTube junk journaling videos. Let's check this out and see if there's any bombs on that. Okay. And I watched a ton of videos for about a year, and I happened to be at a fundraiser, and we had a silent auction, and so I had just made a few things. Not a junk journal at that point, but I had just made a few things that we could give as door prizes or whatever. And this one woman said, "Did you make this? Where did you get this?" And I said, "Yeah, I made that." And she said, "Do you sell them?" And I said, "No, I just make things and give them away." And she said, "Why would you do that? You need to start a business." And so I started making, I actually started making junk journals at that point, because what I had brought to the fundraiser, I think, was just little handmade bookmarks with a charm attached to it. Okay. And, you know, when I like to give gifts, giving things to people that are handmade, really warms my heart. It's something that I love to do. And one of my friends, oh yeah, I can't use that piece there. Let's see, we'll use this piece right here. So one of my friends had a birthday, and I had a little game night party at my house one night, and just for my women friends. And when she got here, I said, "I have a birthday present for you." And she said, "Oh, goody, I hope it's handmade." And I was like, yes, of course it's handmade, right? Because that's what I like to do. Why spend $5 on something that you can buy when you can spend $10 on something that you can make, right? Okay, so what we're going to do here, this glue is still drying, but we're just going to jam that into that corner there, just so we make sure that these pages don't come up. And we're going to do that on both sides. I'm probably going to put a little bit more paper right there. And another good friend to have is this little tool right here. I do have a Cricut one, but I think I got this from the Dollar Tree. That's where I get a lot of my supplies. And we're just gonna, okay, so there's not enough glue there, so we're just gonna squish some glue in there, mash it down, and then take this little squisher tool here. I don't even know what this is called. We're just gonna pull this up, and we're gonna make sure that we do that on both sides well. And so it doesn't matter you have glue there, because I'm actually going to be putting paper over that anyway. So let's see, is this one that I can use? Okay, we can use this piece. Okay. So I also dye paper too, and we're going to be using some of that in this as well. And last week, or I guess it was last week, my husband and I went to the grocery store, and I told him I wanted a head of purple cabbage, and he said, "What for? You don't eat that stuff." And I said, "Because I'm going to use it to dye." I've seen other people dye paper with various different things. I've dyed paper with sugar-free Kool-Aid. I've used Crystal Light, that's sugar-free. Tea bags, coffee. I have used avocado, and I did that like a week or two ago, and it's really interesting how that works, because I tried it 2 different ways. So you boil the pits and the skins on the stove, and you let them simmer until you bring it to a boil, and then you let it simmer until it gets to the color that you want it, and then you just dip your paper in there. And I'll make a video on how I did that too, because that was really fun. But what I did was I let my paper soak overnight in that, and then I put them outside on my deck to dry, and then I had some solution left over in that. So what I did was I took more paper and I put it in there, and the solution at this point is cold because I had done it the day before, and the color variation is pretty cool on hot versus room temperature. The hot solution made the papers extremely dark in color, like a burgundy almost, and the room temperature solution made it kind of like a dusty, dirty brown rose. I don't know how to explain it, but I still have some solution left over, and so what I'm going to do is, I like the darker color on that, so I'm going to boil that, bring that back up to a boil, and then soak my papers in there again, and see if how well it held up, because it's been in my refrigerator for, I don't know, a week, maybe 2 weeks actually. I've been kind of busy, so I don't remember when I actually did that, but yeah, it was probably 2 weeks ago. Okay. So, probably should have inked this before I got on here, because this is wasting a little bit of time here, but always cover your ink. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to glue them down right here like that. Get rid of that glue bubble there. Okay, we're just going to put glue all the way around. Make sure you get as close to the edge as possible, because you don't want that edge flipping up. Because you'll just have to glue it down again later. I always keep glue at the ready, just so I can make sure that they stay where I want them to be. Okay, so this is where it bends, and so we're going to make it a little bit so we can see both sides or all of the edges there, and then the paper. So, okay, squish that down. And this corner is kind of thick. Yeah, I probably should have cut some of that off, but too late now. I'm not undoing that. That would be a big fat mess. So we're going to do the other side. And then once I'm done with this, I'm going to put it under a heavy book and leave it there for a few hours. And then come back and start on the rest of the inside, the signature pages, which is pretty fun. And that's where I'll be able to show you where I've done some of my dyeing, coffee dyeing, tea dyeing, coffee or tea spray. I'm not sure exactly what I did, but in my opinion, it didn't really work well because I tried to do it with stencils. Make sure that's not going to hit the edge. And mash that down. Yeah, so I used grape Kool-Aid, fruit punch, some blueberry pomegranate or something like that. I don't know. But they came out some pretty interesting colors. So, okay. Always make sure that you cover your glue back up. And let's see what we got here. Okay. So the inside is not going to be staying blank like that. That's just a blank background for you to use as your imagination will take you. And so let's just squish those down again. Make sure that that paper's not going to come up. It's coming up right there. So we're going to put some more glue right there. Glue is your best friend in this instance. Okay, mash that down. And so this is what it looks like on the outside now. I probably will take this off camera and sew around the entire outside, just because those corners are kind of thick. I just use a regular Brother sewing machine. It's nothing fancy. Maybe it is a little fancy. It's a little, I think it's the next one up from the Brother Project Runway one. It's got a few more built-in stitches in that one. I had a Brother Project Runway. I think I gave it away to a friend because it's at one point I had 5 sewing machines. So what do you need with 5 of them? Okay, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you at my next video. Bye.